Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Senator, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We are sitting here now less than 2 weeks away from Election Day, and all eyes are on Pennsylvania. The race is razor thin. According to 538's polling average, Trump is ahead by less than half a point, but according to some polls that came out this week, Harris is up by a few points. You hear that data as someone who represents Pennsylvania. What are you thinking?
Well, as you know, I'm a Philly guy through and through. And in the truest sense of the word, saving democracy is going to run through Philadelphia, the birthplace of democracy. And what we're seeing, however, is a robust campaign on the vice president's part that is growing. More and more folks are participating. There's a tremendous number of field staff, a tremendous number of officers all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think in the city of Philadelphia alone, there are about 7 offices for the vice president. I think there's maybe 1 office for Donald Trump. And so I sense momentum in the city. I sense growing enthusiasm in the city. Thousands of workers are on the streets on a daily basis, knocking on doors, making phone calls, doing all the good work. I think it's going the right direction for the vice president.
Talk about the Harris campaign's ground game in Philadelphia, because as we know, they need to turn out, if they want to win Pennsylvania, they need to turn out every vote they possibly can in the city. So what does that look like?
So 2 weekends ago in Philadelphia, they knocked on over 250,000 doors. Just this past weekend, it was closer to 400,000 doors. So you see a growth in the number and the volume of activity. We're seeing visits by surrogates from all over the city, all over the state, all over the country, in churches, in communities, hosting conversations, in barbershops and places like that. I see and feel and really can identify a growth in the support for her in the city of Philadelphia. They've been structured and organized in Philadelphia deeply. Donald Trump has not been that. He's not had a real presence in the city of Philadelphia on the ground. And I think in the end, that's going to bode extremely well for the vice president.
You sound very optimistic about the Harris campaign in Philadelphia specifically. A Politico report came out saying that some top Democrats in the state don't feel the same way. They're saying things like Pennsylvania's a mess. The Harris campaign manager doesn't understand the city of Philadelphia. When you hear that, what's your response?
Look, I think that conversation was way overblown. What you have is a situation, as you have in every campaign, where there's always self-assessment. I mean, the winning campaign looks at itself on a daily basis, takes input from folks on a daily basis to make sure that it's going in the right direction, accommodating all the issues, talking to all the people, making sure it's messaging appropriately. I see, and I know that is what the situation that occurred in this situation. So things they have talked with us, they've listened to input, they've grown their operation, they've added more components to their operation. I think it is all building in the right. It's building up with the right momentum, going in the right direction for an extremely successful election day effort.
You said that you had some conversations with the Harris campaign. Can you give us some insight, some behind the scenes? What did those look like?
Well, I mean, it's the normal stuff that any campaign would have with individuals who are involved. What's the status of the communications? What's the status of the door knocking? What's the status of this particular community over here? I think they may need a little bit more attention. This community here, I think we need to do a little bit more phone banking over there. That's just normal campaign stuff. And as I said, it's the successful campaign that always does the self-analysis, that always does a review of what is going on with their effort and not flying either by the seat of their pants, not taking any input, or just making assumptions without talking to people. They have talked, they have listened, they have responded, and you know, we as well have listened and heard about things that they're doing that we may not have known about. And so it's all coming together. It's all shaping up, I think, very nicely. Coming up in the next few days, the vice president will be here. Former President Barack Obama will be here. I'm told there's going to be a big concert by this guy by the name of Bruce Springfield. I've heard of him. All right, okay. He's coming in to create some more enthusiasm. Just a few weeks ago, Stevie Wonder was in town communicating with folks. All kinds of individuals, including my lovely wife, was in town. All right, Shirley Ralph from your favorite TV show, Abbott Elementary, playing the role of Barbara Howard. I'm always going to get a shameless plug-in for my wife. You do know that, all right? So everybody's coming. Everybody's doing stuff. People are all over the place. It's growing. The momentum is going in the right direction for the vice president.
Hey, that's a good husband, always plugging your wife any opportunity you can. I appreciate that. But according to polls nationally, Harris is losing some support in key constituencies like black voters. There is a gender divide where more men are supporting Trump over Harris. Do you feel that in Philadelphia?
I think, we guys are a little bit slow to get it right. Okay, that's just our nature. All right, we have to think more about it, and I think that the guys are going to get there. I think we're all going to get there behind her. I think there may be a little bit overblown conversation about black men not being supportive of Kamala Harris. She's going to get at least 80% of support amongst black men. At least 80%. It's going to go higher. I'm confident of that. We understand that the stakes are extremely high. We understand that the conversations around education means something to all folks, especially to black men. We understand the issues around criminal justice reform means something to all people, but especially to black men. We understand these issues. We're going to be there in support of the vice president. We understand clearly, as the message gets articulated even deeper, we understand that Donald Trump presents a clear and present danger. His discussion about suspending the United States Constitution has an impact on those rights that we fought so hard to get. For example, the Fourth Amendment right to protection against illegal searches and seizures. When you suspend the Constitution, you're suspending those protections. That means law enforcement can come in and do whatever they want, whenever they want, in whatever manner that they want. And there's no protection against that. That is real for everybody. It has a special impact for black communities because of our long, troubled history with law enforcement. So in the end, all of these issues will be communicated thoroughly, with lots of volume, on all the different platforms that are available to be communicated, whether it be knocking on doors or whether it be making phone calls, or whether it be commercials, whether it be in print media, what have you. They're all going to be communicated, and I believe in the end, the numbers will get to be where they need to be for the vice president.
Senator, I'm sure you feel the same way, but I feel lucky to be a native Pennsylvanian. I lived there my whole childhood. I went to college there. I talk to Pennsylvania voters every day, as my family is still there, some of them. And in those conversations, the economy comes up a lot. According to a recent poll, 82% of Pennsylvania voters do feel the same way, that the economy is a major issue this election. And what would you say to a voter in Pennsylvania who says, hey, I feel like my groceries were less expensive under Trump than Biden. I feel like I was financially better off 4 years ago. What's your answer?
Well, I think, look, if you look at some of the very hard numbers in the economy, and if you look at the proposals going forward, unemployment is the lowest it has ever been. In target communities where it's always been hard to get unemployment down, for the black community, black unemployment is the lowest that it has ever been. And so that's a history that can be worked off of. The question then becomes, what are the proposals going forward? Donald Trump, he wants to give a huge tax cut to the wealthiest people in this country, starting with his buddy, Elon Musk, all right? Elon Musk does not deserve a tax cut, all right? Kamala Harris, she wants to give a tax cut to the middle class, to working folks. everybody who's working and grinding on a daily basis. Kamala Harris wants to expand the protections around pharmaceuticals like insulin and capping those costs at $35. She wants to grow the opportunities to hire more child care workers and, in fact, give a child care tax credit to make it easier for working families to get through. Donald Trump does not care about those individuals. Kamala Harris wants to raise the minimum wage, which winds up raising the wages for everybody who's at the low income of the economic ladder, raises all of those wages. Donald Trump does not support an increase in minimum wage. He would rather keep low-income working families in poverty. That's his agenda. He had a chance to change that when he was president for 4 years. He didn't do anything about it. We have the opportunity to get it done now with Kamala Harris. She's an advocate for it. He's not. She represents the interests of the people. He doesn't. Ask his friend Elon Musk.
There are 19 electoral votes up for grabs in Pennsylvania. As we know, this is the most of any battleground state. So my last question to you is, what do you want to see in the next 2 weeks from the campaign?
Well, if you know me, I want more, okay? I want more resources. I want more conversation. I want more engagement by more folks coming to the city of Philadelphia, coming to Pennsylvania to advocate for what we know is right. Any good-thinking American citizen, whether they live in Pennsylvania or anywhere around the country, on the issues, there really is no justification at all to vote for Donald Trump. If you're a senior citizen, he wants to cut Medicare. He wants to cut Social Security. No justification to support him if you're a senior citizen. If you are a working family and an emerging family, just starting out with your children, he wants to cut Head Start. He wants to cut child care. It's just no justification. If your health care means something, if health insurance means something, she wants to take the Affordable Care Act and expand it and grow it so that there's more protections, more support with respect to health insurance, not less. Donald Trump, are you kidding me? We're still working on the concept. He is still working on the concept of a plan around health insurance. This has been 9 years he's been working on the concept of a plan for health insurance. He's got none. And if you're a woman and you want control of what happens with your body, it's Kamala Harris. Donald Trump, well, we already know how he feels about women. He made it very clear.
Senator Vincent Hughes, I appreciate the conversation today. I welcome you back anytime, and I hope to have more conversations. Thank you so much for joining me.
Anytime you need me, Temple.